I wanted to do a quick review of the Victron Energy Phoenix Pure Sine Wave Inverter 1200. I recently added this to my small 12 volt solar uh, array configuration to replace an older unit that I had that wasn't made by Victron. It was actually made by Roarbat, and I was just looking for it so I could show it to you, but I can't seem to find where I put it. So I will just put a link to where it is. Anyway, the Roarbat unit was actually rated higher than the Victron Energy inverter. It was actually rated at continuous 1000 with a 2000 peak or surge, and this inverter is rated at 1200, but supposedly that can't go up to 2000. But as I have found with Victron products, they overbuild, over provision, over design their products, and they're built like tanks. As you can see, this thing is pretty massive, and it provides just like solid energy. Look at the size of these connectors here. I've got some. This is 2 gauge cable coming out of here for the positive, and it just eats it right up in those connectors. One of the cool things about this particular inverter is that it supports a standby mode, which is if you flip this button to the second setting, right now it's just on perpetually, but if you set it to the second setting here, if there's no load on it, you'll see this light start flashing, and then you can configure it. I have it configured for every 20 seconds, just look for load, and if it sees load in 20 seconds, it powers up and it starts providing power for that load again. But it goes from utilizing 16 to 18 watts in a normal, no load standby situation to less than 5 watts when it's running in that standby searching mode. They call it eco mode. So it saves you a lot of idle wattage that for other inverters that don't have that feature. There may be other companies that make that, but I know the Roarbat doesn't support that function. So it was either on or off, and I had to turn it off either by my cutoff switch here or on the switch on the Roarbat. I love this feature. This guy also supports Wi-Fi, or I'm sorry, Bluetooth connectivity, and also obviously connection to a Servo GX via this V direct port here. So I actually ended up getting the Bluetooth because I don't have a Servo GX, and I mounted it up high, and I can actually read the settings from inside the house from connected to the shed. The other nice thing is it connects to the allows me to manage it. So I set up this tablet here in order to manage this remotely, and I've got a remote tool here that lets me remote into the tablet and then remote into this. But the interface for this particular product, once you set up the Bluetooth, is pretty straightforward, and it provides the exact amount of wattage that it's pushing out, voltage for the battery. As soon as this thing decides to load, I don't know what's happening. Of course, as I'm doing the review, it decides to flake out. That's not this issue. That's actually this tablet. This is a really old tablet, and sometimes the Bluetooth on it just goes wonky, and I've got to restart the tablet in order to get Bluetooth working again. Hopefully that won't be the case here. Anyway, I'll come back to that in a minute. So it has, this particular model has a particular non-GFI 120 volt output AC port, and I've got that coming over here to a smart switch, and then it's running all kinds of different loads. Right now it's actually sending 750 watts of power to my Anchor Solex F3800 inside the house to provide charge for the batteries while the solar array actually ramps up. Unfortunately, my neighbor's got a huge tree which blocks the solar array, and I don't really start getting power until 10:30 this time of the year. So anyway, so it looks like the Bluetooth on this tablet is being wonky. So anyway, it's affecting the connectivity. I can connect on the phone I'm recording with, but of course you can't see that because I'm not running any of those fancy tools to cast what you're seeing on the screen. So anyway, we'll just look at the abbreviated description here. You can see there that it's pulling 888 watts. 741 of that is going to my Anchor Solex. You can see that from the input there, the AC input. And the batteries are up to 91% at this point. But I love this thing. Absolutely love this thing. This is worth every single penny. What you can't see is that this sucker is heavy. This thing weighs about 16 pounds. The Roar Bat that it replaced weighed maybe 3 or 4 pounds, if that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Success. I found the old one. So look at the size difference between these two. There's the Roar Bat, pure sine wave inverter, as compared to the Victron Energy. Victron Energy is almost, I'd say it's 2/3 the size, maybe more. The size of this one. And if you look at it from the side, thickness. This one, the reason I replaced it is because the fan died a couple years into using it. It died. So I was going to take it apart and fix the fan. But this thing, you know what? I said it weighs maybe 3 or 4 pounds. Yeah, I guess that's right. It's super light, super light. So the components, the MOSFET, the inverter components in here are just really weak sauce. I could only get, because the fan stopped working, I could only get maybe 400 or 500 watts out of this thing before it would just shut down from overheating, and that's with a fan sitting on top of it, blowing air on it. And when the fan was working, the max that I was able to get on this thing before it would just shut down from over voltage was, I want to say, because it's been years since the fan died, but I want to say I was getting a maximum of maybe 600 watts out of this thing, and it was for just a very limited period, maybe a half hour or so, and then it would just shut down. Really just junk. And and these things were still, I think I paid like I really should have looked this up before doing the video. I'll put the information in the text in the video, but I want to say I paid somewhere between 60 to 100 bucks for this particular unit. This unit, I got it on sale as a used like new from Amazon for 160. It normally goes for like 250. But even at 250, I would have paid 250 for this unit versus 100 bucks for this unit. It's just the quality difference between these two is night and day. I mean, this is a Lamborghini, this is a Yugo. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. I would never buy one of these ever again. And they add all these extra whistles. Oh, you got 2 AC outlets and you got 2 USB ports. That's great, but you can't give me more than 600 watts when you're actually working with a fan. And this one is giving me, and you can, by the way, can you even hear it? The fan is going on this. It is very, very, very quiet. You can barely hear the fan on this thing. And part of the reason is because there's a lot of space in there for the components. The components are large and they let air go through. And this is sitting in a shed with no air conditioning. It'll get 140, 150 degrees in the shed, and this thing is just rock solid. All right, well, I'm gonna stop because I think I have covered pretty much everything that can be covered for this unit. I will write up a review and provide some more details there, but there's also some excellent reviews out on YouTube and Amazon and on the web for this unit. So, but you can't go wrong with the Victron. This is the third Victron component that I've added to my system. I've got the Victron shunt is actually upside down, and I've got behind here, let me get this guy moved out of the way. I've got the 7515 MPPT solar charge controller, which has been solid. Victron just works, and it's plug and play. You know, it just works. So do yourself a solid. Don't buy garbage. Just buy Victron. If you're, you know, standing up a small system to a large system, they go all the way to really large whole home inverters and solar chargers and whatnot. This is a small, just, you know, 3 battery, 300 amp hour, 12 volt battery array that I've got with solar charging on the back end. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you're looking for an inverter, you can't do any better than Victron Energy Phoenix Pure Sine Inverter. They come in different flavors, so check them out. See you on the next review.